It's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me at benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcast because People of Distinction is a nationally and internationally syndicated show because of listeners like you. Our shows are available across all major podcast distributors as well as YouTube. And if you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. We appreciate the support. Continue to like and follow and sit back and strap in because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Madison Christian Atteberry. We're going to be discussing her amazing book, Captain Concussion, Quotes and Logic of an Interdimensional Pirate. That's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com, all the regular online book resellers. Head on over there today, pick up your copies, and get lost in this amazing book. And before we go any further, I want to take this opportunity and point out the fact that Madison was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by one of the best publishers in the business and people you already know. I'm talking about Citi of Books. So for my writers out there who have gone through their process creating their masterpiece and now you need help moving the book you just developed, well, contact Citi of Books. They're one of the best in the business to do it, and this is exactly what they specialize in. So head on over to citiofbooks.com today and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Madison here on the line. People, her book, Captain Concussion, is going to keep you guessing. All right, it's going to keep you at the edge of your seat. It's going to keep you entertained. And that is exactly the purposes of this book. It's a collection of fun quotes created to bring joy, created to bring entertainment to its readers. And can I just be the first to say it? People, given the pressures of just everyday life, given the amount of division we find ourselves in just this world, you know, I think at a certain point, I was looking at the divide that we had here, and I'm like, well, this is an American problem. It's not. This is a human being problem, apparently. You look everywhere in the world, and there is so much division. There is so much hate. There is so much anger. I'm not going to go into the specifics. What I will say is a book of this magnitude is exactly what we all need right now. Something fun, something humorous, something lighthearted to take us away from all of that. And I'm telling you, Madison is on to something special here. Once we've concluded, you're going to run to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and purchase your copies because you're going to understand how valuable of a book this truly is. And who better to articulate everything than Madison herself? Sit back and get ready. Madison, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today?
Fine, sir. How have you been?
I am fantastic, Madison, better than I deserve, and I appreciate having you here. Listen, I meant what I said in my opening. What you've done by comprising this book, I think is something special and something that a lot of people are going to benefit from. So we appreciate having you here. Thank you again for being a guest. Before we go into the book, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background. Who is Madison Christian Atteberry?
Not much to tell. I tried for the military when I was in my early, actually I think it was 20, it didn't pass basic. Ever since then I've been just going around different jobs, trying to build up other projects that just never went anywhere. And this is probably the first success I actually ever had in my life.
Well,
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Like I said, there's not much to tell. Earlier in my life, I tried for the military, but never went anywhere. I didn't pass basic. I went from job to job while working on this book and others. And unfortunately, that's about it up until very recently. This is actually the first big success I've had in my life.
Well, listen, Madison, it is not a surprise to me that that is the case in terms of the success that this book has. Like I've said already, you're onto something here. You've tapped in to something within our society that people are yearning for, whether they have the the wherewithal to articulate it or not, right? Again, something that is lighthearted, easygoing, and just fun is something that we all need from time to time. So, listen, this is definitely a delight. This is a true gift. Let's jump into the words on those pages, Madison. Captain Concussion. Tell us a little bit more about your book and what it entails.
Well, originally it was meant for T-shirts and bumper stickers, but like I said, it never came to fruition. And then one day, an opportunity called from Dorrance Publishing, and it took me a while to come around, but eventually I agreed for them to publish my book. Essentially, these little quotes I have in the book, 23 of them, are actually just a small section of what I had. I just self-edited from what I thought was good, because when I worked in a dive bar, I used to go around and see what works, because I live in a town that's high tourist, so I get people from the East and the West. I sometimes get people from Europe. And so I saw what worked, what didn't work, what people found funny, and what didn't find funny. So it's just a mixture of different ideologies of what people thought and what they liked. For instance, let me see. One of the most popular ones, because this is kind of a little bit dark humor book, the most popular that seemed to be unifiedly, I guess I could say, agreed upon was Captain Concussion says, I try so hard to make my day a murder-free day, but there's always that one person who has to ruin it. It doesn't matter if you're like a Republican or Democrat or from Europe or from South America. People seem to like that a little bit more than the others.
Madison, let's go a little bit more into inspiration. I know you started talking about the precipice, right? The early journey of this, and really the initial idea, like you said, I mean, bumper stickers and things that are, on T-shirts. Talk to us a little bit more about even prior to that. Where did this idea even come from to have this collection of quotes, whether it was in a book, on a T-shirt, or what? Where did this even come from?
Most of it came from family stories. For instance, there's one that mentions, hey, wait a minute, this place has everything. Legal and illegal, and goes like legal and legal drinking, then goes drugs, gambling, and so on and so forth. And then ends, all of a sudden, I like going to church. That's a story from my father, because his father was in the Navy. And everywhere they get stationed, if you go to one place, everything that was illegal in the last place might be legal, and vice versa. Well, there's another quote I made saying, you know what? Stealing a car from the gas station is a terrible idea. I mean, the car is there to get refueled. So what if you get in one with little or no gas? Yeah, I wish I'd thought about that before jumping in this car. That actually comes from a story. I used to live in Millington, and one day me and my father stopped to get gas. And I can't remember what car it was. It was a very high-end car, not normally seen around Millington. And the guy left his keys in the car on the front seat with the windows down. And my father smiled and said, you know what? And he looked at me and was like, you and me could probably go around town real quick in a nice fancy car. And then he stopped, looked at the keys. Unless that's the point, because the guy knows that it has little fuel, and we're not going to get very far. So, some of it's from what I hear from other people. Like I said, I used to work in a dive bar. They would sometimes get international traffic or traffic from around the country. Some of it's from family stories. Others is just to grab your attention. And I won't mention them because there's cursing and I want to keep this civil. But some of them were just to grab people's attention to see if it worked or not. And it seems that those ones with cursing is what kept people coming back, asking to see at the time, well, it was a makeshift book I made at home with one of those binders you get at the store.
Yeah.
And they kept wanting to see that one page where it had the cursing in it. So, yeah, I probably shouldn't have left those in. But if it grabs somebody's attention to read the rest of the book, then I kind of justified it.
Yeah.
And so there's like I said, there's others I have left out intentionally, ones I was still making. And if I can ever again do this, I might make a second edition.
There you have it. Well, listen, Madison, we're going to talk about the future in just a little bit. People, again, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. The book is called Captain Concussion, Quotes and Logic of an Interdimensional Pirate by Madison Christian Atteberry. Head on over there today, pick up copies, get lost in it. Madison, I'm curious, Matt. Listen, I love your title, okay? There's something about it that just stops you in your tracks and makes you wonder from really the entirety, the title and the subtitle. Captain Concussion. And the other part, an interdimensional pirate. I mean, listen, this is some exciting stuff here. Talk to us about that title, why you chose it to be the representation for your book.
Like I said, some of it's attention getting to get your attention to it, to buy the book or to look into it. For instance, the cover of the flag a friend of mine made for me, Sarah Graves. Of course, pirates have to have their own little flags. So I looked around. I saw, of course, Blackbeards and Black Barts. So I had to add my own little touch on it with 2 cross cannons on the top, 2 cross swords instead of crossbones, a blue diamond in the middle, and add the cannons blood, one to a goblet and the other into like a whiskey barrel. Just anything to grab someone's attention, basically.
Yeah.
And Interdimensional Pirate came later, because I can't remember exactly when I came up with the name Concussion. And that's not the full name. In fact, the first page does mention, because like I said, this is for T-shirts, so each page begins with Captain Concussion says. James Solomon, it's Captain James Solomon Concussion. I forgot to mention on the title page. Yay, fourth wall breaking is fun. You can go on to the next page now. I mean, you did buy the book, so you might as well, read it. Go on now. Go. So I can't remember, like I said, I can't remember when I came up with the name Concussion exactly, because this has almost been like 2 decades. I was still in high school when I thought about this.
Oh, wow.
That's almost been like over 20 years now. But Interdimensional Pirate, like I said, is, we'll talk about, like you said, future plans. That at home, I do have on my computer something a little bit more of a story to tell. But right now, this was a cheaper option to get the name out there. That's about it.
There you have it. Well, listen, follow-up question that we'd love to go into here now, Madison. Who would you say is your intended reader from the book, and what do you hope that they take from it upon completing it?
That's kind of the problem when you're trying to narrow down the intended audience. Like I said, when I worked at a bar, this didn't really start developing until I started working at a dive bar called Shanghai Nobbies in St. Augustine. And I used to talk to people sometimes, like from the West Coast, sometimes from the Upper East Coast in Canada. So it's kind of a mixture of the brand speaks to you, basically. I might say something, because as the book continues, because there's only 23 pages, but eventually I do get, I guess you could say, a little bit political. Because there's one, oops, I'm sorry, I dropped the book on the phone. There was one that says, Nations Unite Against the United Nations. That was actually another project I had for T-shirts. I can't remember exactly what the complaint was about the UN, but I tried to think of something anti-UN and pro-UN, because that's the kind of person I am. If I'm going to sell to one, I'm going to sell to the other.
Yeah.
I just could never think of a pro-UN one that other people hadn't thought of. So I just combined it into Captain Concussion. And if you don't like the Democrats, I have something for Republicans. And if you don't like the Republicans, I have something for you. Basically what a pirate does, selling to both sides to get the most of a profit. In fact, there actually is one page mentioning that. Let me find it, because let's see. Is a little bit. Hold on. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it says, if you have an idea that can make money or make you money, act on it. Never let any idea go to waste. If you have an idea that can be sold whole or cut up and sold separately to increase your wealth, act on it. The drug dealer's method of making money. So basically, that's telling you it's for anyone, just for basically anyone who will either agree with it or find it funny or it speaks to them. I probably overextended myself, but that was the intended audience basically just anyone.
Well, listen, I agree with the take because I think that there is something everyone can take from this book, regardless of your background, regardless of your own thoughts or beliefs. I do think that this is something that has the versatility to border into different groups that way, and does so in such a seamless fashion, I might add. So, listen, people, I'm telling you, this is a book that keeps on giving. And now we're at that point where, I'm curious. I know about this book. I know about your background, Madison. I want to know about the future. What's upcoming for you? Please tell me that there's another book on the horizon.
There is. It's under works. Recently, my last job, I had a few new ideas pop into my head from just watching people. I won't say them here right now. Not that they're vulgar. It's just that I haven't had a copyright for it yet, so I want that first.
Yeah, of course.
Just in case anyone beats me to it. And eventually, if I can make some money off this and any other project I make, I would love to make a comic book on Captain Concussion. And I would love to expand on the story of why he's in it. Well, actually, because it's a non-physical being, but that's another story for another day. But I would love to go into the story, like short little funny stories with a background story of who Captain Concussion is.
Well, listen, people, the main thing here is that there are other projects that are in the make, right? There are other projects in the making. Listen, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. This is the challenge that I want to put out for all of you listening in. By the overwhelming show of support for this book, Captain Concussion, that's going to give Madison the note of, listen, we need more, okay? We want more. You got to continue to come out with it. So the onus is on all of you listening in right now. You got to head on over to the places that I mentioned. It's like I said, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You don't have to go much further than simply typing in Captain Concussion by Madison Christian Atteberry into a Google search bar, and you're going to be greeted with a whole host of places for purchasing. Head on over there today and do just that. Madison, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you so much, sir.